Is negative SEO a reality? How do you SEO live events? And where should a marketer publish videos and why? Welcome to This Week in Organic, episode number 21.
This Week's in Organic. Live from London on thisweekinorganic.com.
Broadcasting live on Blab, you're watching This Week in Organic, the weekly show that debates the ramifications of the latest SEO and content marketing news. Sign up to watch the next show live at thisweekinorganic.com. Hello and welcome. I'm David Bain, and each week I'll be joined by some knowledgeable, opinionated folks to discuss the latest happenings and anything that impacts organic traffic. And as for you in a live audience, get involved. Click on the Tell a Little Bird button to your top left-hand side to share the show with your friends and tell us exactly what you think of what's being discussed in the comment section just to your right-hand side. And I'll try and read out as much thoughts as I can. So let's find out more about today's guests, where they're from, and what's caught their attention this week. So starting off with Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy Halliday. I work for eBuy.com. I'm the head of SEO PPC. The thing that's grabbed my attention this week is the Google announcing, well, potentially targeting the SAPE links across the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. I read that story as well. That'd be quite interesting. And Grant, thanks for joining us.
Hi, my name is Grant Whiteside. I'm the founding technical director at Amber Green Internet Marketing. We're based up in Edinburgh. And there was a few interesting points that came out this week, but I'm going with SAPE links as well, and obviously Google looking about how it's going to clean up their backlink industry.
Clean up their everyone's backyard. And Tala, thanks for joining us as well.
Hi, so my name is Talha Fazlani, and I'm a SEO consultant. I mostly work with small to medium-sized companies, and the story that caught my attention this week is the one Google Maps, mostly because I work with smaller companies and I've seen it done a great deal of work for small and medium-sized businesses which use Google Maps.
Okay, lovely stuff. So just keep that microphone close to your mouth, Tala, so that good stuff. Okay, well, let's move straight on to topic number one. So it's been reported that on a few sites that Google have penalized a link network called SAPE, SAPE. After a quick search myself for SAPE links, I found a post on the Warrior Forum saying that SAPE links are great for building to your competitors. So that was one of the first quotes about them that I saw. So Grant first, maybe. SAPE links to your competitors. Is that a good idea? I don't know if we've got a delay there for Grant.
Yeah, okay? Sorry, I can't really. It's breaking up all over the place. But if you're asking me what I think about that, or what happened this week when it came to the SAPE stuff, I'm sick and tired of these private block networks. They've been around forever, and it's just basically a way of fictitiously putting in what is meant to be a good result in Google at the end of the day. And people have rewritten the script countless times over the past 18, 20 years about how they actually gain or fake organic visibility. And yet again, it's just one of these things that isn't on. It was inevitable that whatever you do to create a sort of a manufactured natural link network, then it's going to eventually fall over at the end of the day. So it's inevitable it's going to happen, and you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, and Google's going to clobber you. They own 94% of the market share in Europe, and got plenty of other ways of getting visibility. It's called paid search. It's called YouTube. It's called lots and lots of other things as well. At some point, some good things come to an end.
It's a very, very short-term thing, isn't it? I mean, it's called, was it super affiliates something? So obviously it's a focus on building thin affiliate sites just to rank for a very short term. So it's kind of Burnett type websites and build as many links as possible to them over a short term, and then when Google picks up on it, obviously that site will disappear from existence in terms of Google Organic. So very, very short-term strategy. There are maybe some very aggressive businesses you could argue that works for, but it's exceptionally dangerous, certainly for any business that wants to live or stay around for a decent length of time to actually be obtaining those types of links.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, Andy, what's your thoughts on it?
If you're trying to build a brand, it's a no-go. because a brand you want to be around for 10, 15, 20, 100 years time. Google will catch up with you. Don't worry. In terms of negative SEO, as long as you're checking Majestic, etc., seeing what new links you've got coming in, you should be all right from a negative SEO point of view. But if you're trying to build a brand, do it the natural way, because Google will catch up to you. Whether it's this week, next week, 5 years down the line, you're going to get caught and you're going to lose all your traffic, all your rankings.
So, I mean, Andy, do you think it's a legitimate concern for a business to be concerned about negative SEO? Because it is easy to buy loads of links and point it to your competitor. Is that something that a legitimate business should be worried about less scrupulous competitors doing to them?
Yeah, I check once a week in Majestic and Ahrefs, see what new links have been pointed to eBuy.com.
And have you encountered something that you thought could be a little bit dodgy in terms of I've
never swatted anything, but it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
So once a week, it's always check, see what new links, because it's quite easy. There's websites you can go on to. I'm not going to name them, but for $40, you could take down pretty much any website in the world, apart from Amazon.
It's a bit scary. So Tala, what's your thoughts on this one here? Have you encountered many link buying networks, or have any stories to tell about them?
Well, I was reading the same forum that you read where someone mentioned that use SAPE links for your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Someone mentioned that it's not a long-term strategy using SAPE links for yourself. It's something you create for sites that you want to prop up quickly, and they'll drop out quickly. So short-term strategy for short-term goals, and a lot of people use private networks to be able to get up in rankings quickly. Personally, I've never come across anyone who's used it against a competitor. Neither have I seen anyone pay for it, but you read about it a lot online. So I can only assume that there are people out there who do this. Of course, not a long-term strategy. If you want to build up your brand, if you want to get the longer-term branding, SEO strategy down, you won't use any, private linking farms, groups, anything along those or of any sort. I don't think there's any value in it in terms of negative SEO. Of course, like Andy said, if you keep an eye on Majestic SEO, Ahrefs, you'll be well ahead of the game. And you can always, disavow the links, find out who's behind it. I even know someone who suffered from something similar, and what they did was they were able to find out who actually, pointed out all those links to them. You could tell by the quality of the links where they're coming in from. And hopefully, if you keep an eye on things, if you know with sort of link building, strategies you employ, you shouldn't have a problem with negative SEO. That's pretty much my opinion on this sort of subject.
Okay. And so Grant, I mean, have you experienced negative SEO targeting any of your clients at all, and had to actually try and clean things up?
Oh, yeah. So this week we took on a new client and we found 230 injected links into the website that were pushing out to Viagra as well. So we've got two things going. We're using Xeno on the inside, looking at all those hacked links that are sitting in plugins and all the rest of it as well. So it's a huge cleanup job that we're having to deal there with. And then there's the outside as well. We use link risk. So we're looking to what we're going to disavow as well. So, and bad links that come out from your website, whether they're hacked or not, bring in bad neighborhoods as well. So it is the responsibility, as Matt Cutts was saying this week, it will be the responsibility of webmasters to look after this stuff, make sure that, even though you've got your best intentions in mind, that other people aren't sort of got their own agenda against you as well. So yeah, I've seen it a few times. We've removed lots and lots of stuff manually. We're using link risk constantly and using things like Xeno just to make sure that we're looking at every single page, looking at every single plugin and checking them over once a week to once a month, depends what the website is. And it will take down businesses, and it is the responsibility of webmasters or SEOs to look after these things, definitely.
And are you a fan of the disavow tool as well, Grant?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I know it can be a little bit over the top at times, but sometimes when you just look at the top level domain that's coming in and all the garbage that's underneath it, you're better off just clearing out the lot. And yes, I've removed several hundred backlinks going to people's websites this week, and it did nothing more than push people's rankings up the way rather than down the way.
Okay, a good comment from Braminos in the chat saying that negative SEO can come from old content that actually points to old domain names, which have become weird, spammy, dodgy sites, and maybe were something legitimate, obviously, originally. So you have to check all your old links out of your website as well. I think that's a great tip as well. Andy, you're nodding away there. Is that something that you've done as well?
Yeah, and I was going to say that I wish that Bing would sort out their webmaster tools, because if you try and upload a disavow file to Bing, you have to import each line manually. Whereas with Google, you just upload a CSV file. It's so annoying for Bing. Can't they just do one simple change? You can upload a CSV file. But yeah,
you find that you use Bing webmaster tools just as much as Google?
I won't say just as much, but I do use it. It's got some useful information in there, and 6% or 8% or whatever numbers you want to believe of people using Bing. So I still want to rank in Bing. So I don't focus as much time, probably 6% of my time on Bing. But if I find a bad link, they're going to penalise me at some point. So I want to disavow it in there as well.
Okay, interesting.
One thing I've noticed just on this topic, a lot of people who've done SEO over a long period of time, what they've originally done is bought a lot of links. And said in 5-6 years ago, a company might have bought a number of links pointed to their domain. And when they actually get penalized, they do not know the type of links that they bought, or they do not remember. And it becomes a matter of saying that it's either negative SEO or it was done by a competitor. So it's also a matter of, knowing the sort of links you had. I've noticed a lot of people consider old links to be something they forgot about, something they don't remember, and they consider it to be negative SEO, something came from a competitor. And that's not often the case. If you have negative SEO, it's a bunch of links, mostly, thrown at your site in a very short period of time from very low quality sites. So, there's a big difference between what people consider to be negative SEO and what it actually is. I'm not sure if you all might agree upon this, but that's what I've often noted, for a lot of people who say that they've been affected by negative SEO.
So, Tyler, would you say from what you're saying there that if the history of a domain name means that it's had so many low quality, irrelevant links built up to it, then sometimes you're actually better off going for a brand and domain change and just cutting off and just starting again?
I would not pursue a different domain unless it was absolutely necessary, and that you've gone down such a path that you can never really recover from it. If you have thousands or tens of thousands of links pointing to your domain and 80-90% are bad links or from bad neighborhoods, or there's all types of spam, then you might consider a new domain. As SEO works right now, a lot of it is brand focused. And if your SEO strategy has traditionally been, building low quality links, a lot of keyword density, heavy pages, you can still recover if you've been managing your website on a regular basis. That's an extreme scenario. I wouldn't really recommend it. It might be, helpful for some people who just cannot recover. But I do think there is a way to, overcome your issues that you have, or any negative effects of old SEO campaigns that you've built up over time.
Okay, but you just have to be willing to work at it and take time.
It's a longer-term effort, like with everything.
Yeah. How long is a reasonable time to wait? Are you talking about 6 months, 9 months, even longer than that?
It depends on the company. How much resources they're willing to put in. While you're sort of removing all the bad links, disavowing all the bad links, sorting out all the pages. In that time, you could be building up a good, strong, branded SEO strategy, good social media strategy, creating content. So 2 things can run side by side, but it's just a matter of how much time and resources a company can put into actually, recovering their website from any potential damage they might have incurred.
Okay, it's a good point. Yeah, you can focus on other sources of traffic in the meantime, certainly, and build up your brand as well. So, although it's sad that you might not get much traffic from or generic keyword phrases and organic, it's if you can drive traffic from social, then it might be worthwhile doing, certainly. It seems like we can discuss this topic for the whole session, actually, but Shall we move on to the fact that Google Maps have been updated and business photos, details, reviews appear to be more heavily integrated? What I reckoned was that, I just looked at it briefly this morning, but it certainly seemed as if listings were bigger, had more information in it. You could see reviews there as well. For local businesses, are Google Maps going to be even more important in the future than they have been in the past? Grant, what are your thoughts on that one?
I think the opportunities are definitely growing, just simply because the amount of people that are looking for things on a mobile device as well. The opportunities to use a Google approved photographer. I love that. I think that's absolutely fantastic for businesses that can come in and just have a full sort of walk around, almost like Google Earth style, when you actually walk into a store. That's really, really good. And obviously, the opportunity to get people to talk about you, to review you positively, not only on Google, but on all the aggregators that Google are pulling in, such as Trustpilot and T2, things like that as well. It's actually a really, really good opportunity. And there's far, far more local content. One of the key things is obviously make sure you're in the right category in the first place, so you do get found for these things. And that is one of the key mistakes, is people have got everything in place, but they put themselves in that wrong category. And I think Google will do a little bit more about that, to make a little bit more granular about what actually every business is in the first place. But no, it's going to get, I think it's going to get a wider opportunity, and there's another opportunity to tie in lots more of your other assets, your other digital assets, videos, photographs, tweets, etc. You're going to pull these things together. I think it's going to become more of a real-time, engaging form of finding a good search result at the end of the day. So the opportunity is just going to grow and grow, and it's going to be more relevant for people that are actually searching.
Okay, local listings, maps, going to become even more important in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because last week we discussed actually the fact that the local listings box in organic results is reduced from 7 to 3 results.
That's true. That's true.
It's not Google saying it's less important. It's Google saying it's more important to optimize and be within those 3 results at the top for whatever category is appropriate for your business.
Yes, it is I think it's a reasonably easy win if you actually get it right. But most people are getting it wrong. Well, not most people, lots of people get it wrong at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it should be an easy win if you do it right, certainly. You would think, for certain local businesses anyway. We've got Ramanos saying in the chat as well, just in relation to the previous topic, recreate a new domain is not necessarily a good solution because, of course, if you redirect the old one to the new one, you can be passing the negatives associated with the old domain to the new one as well. So unless you want to completely cut it off, then it's not necessarily a good idea just to move and redirect. Tala, what's your experience with Google Local and Google Maps? Are you seeing that becoming more important moving forward?
Well, the companies I've worked with have had a lot of success using Google Maps. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I used to work for a local company. Their traffic used to be driven from Google Maps. They used to rank heavily for location-specific keywords. It was a company based in London, and they were driving so much traffic to the website based on their location-specific keywords that was unbelievable. Majority of the conversions also came from Google Maps. Like you said, now they've narrowed the results down from 7 to 3, so it's even more competitive. And I think it's a good decision because you had a lot of companies who are prominently positioned or in the top 7 who don't necessarily put in any effort. Other company who actually actively go out there, get reviews, they actually post content on their Google Plus pages or the pages linked to Google Places. And with the added information, for example, now you can actually find more information about landmarks and other restaurants and stuff like this. So if you can integrate that or provide the information in your Google Maps or Places listing, it should help. And the more information there is, the better it is for companies. So I do think it'll play an even more important role, with the amount of people searching for information on their mobile phones, especially, in local shops, local restaurants, companies that provide local services. So I like the way it's going, but I do think it'll become more competitive in the future with more companies trying to get into the top 3 position for their
when local businesses start to understand the power of things like reviews. It's funny, actually, just the other day I ordered a specialist light bulb online, and the first one didn't work, so I actually had to phone them up and said, look, can I get another? And they sent it out straight away, had it within a couple of days, worked fine. So I wrote a review for them. I don't write many at all, but you know, I like decent customer service like that. So I did that, and it was the first review they had online. And it's that type of business that really needs to, after they deliver a product to a customer, say to them, look, thanks for doing business with us. If you liked, you know, how we did things, you know, we'd really appreciate a review. And if they just fanned reviews a little bit more, then it would help them so much just to drive traffic. Most businesses don't do that.
People don't see, you know, the Google Places or location-specific, you know, listings as an opportunity. A lot of them just consider it to be something that they can, you know, list themselves and not have to look after. It's like they consider it to be yellow pages for the internet, where you have a listing, people will find you, and that is it. I mean, engaging with your customers, people who bought something off you, would be a great way to build up a certain amount of relevance, get your, you know, improve your rankings locally. I even saw something really funny the other day on Reddit. There is a prison in America, and one of the someone who had been to the prison had left a review for the prison, said it's the worst place he's ever been to, and he'll never go again. So,
never go again.
Yeah.
As if it's a choice, maybe, I don't know. Andy, can a big national company take advantage of Google Maps and Google Local as well, or is it more for smaller local businesses?
Firstly, I was happy when it went from 7 to 3 because it meant I got more real estate to fight for, because obviously we don't have local stores. But I don't know, when I was last on your show, there was someone called Greg Gifford there, and all he was saying is sort out your name, address, phone number, get that listed all across the website correctly, sort out your local listings, local reviews, local links, and you should be all right in Maps. Well, in terms of us, it doesn't affect us one bit, but apart from, we've now got more real estate to fight for.
Okay. So you don't have offices, you know, in multiple places in the country?
No, we just have the one.
And so the one at head office, do you try and optimize that, or is that just not important for you?
It's just not important because you can't come and collect from here, so there's no point advertising the fact where we are located.
Okay, interesting. Grant looks as if he was just about to say something there, but maybe not.
No, well, actually, yeah, we're just sort of breaking up the sound a little bit. I think it's a great opportunity to demonstrate the in-store value, because there's one thing that that a website can do, etc., but that if you do have something somewhere special when you actually walk into that store that can't be represented on the website at this moment in time, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to show what customer service looks like, what the products look like in context, in real color, in real light, with other products that we're selling as well. So there's and it can show the personality of the organization about why you actually want to go in there in the first place. And it's something that could be done better than you currently get on your, just on your website alone. So I think it's a great opportunity.
We've got
you have to work hard at it. And your point about how large organizations work together, that takes a lot more organization, especially when you've got maybe 50 stores and everybody has to try and align their efforts at the same time. I noticed that everybody else, apart from myself, seems to be on audio only at this moment in time.
Okay, well, I mean, I can certainly see video for everyone, Grant, so I'm not sure if it's your connection or not. If you want, Grant, you can actually refresh your screen, and that sometimes resolves it. So I'll let you do that if you want, and I'll just continue discussing what we're discussing. Hopefully, we'll have you back in a second if you want to do that. But I was just going to say, actually, in the chat, we've got everyone UK that said that we find that business categories used to define businesses on Google Local are quite Americanized. So maybe that puts people off as well. Okay, we've got Ramanos saying that something I'll recommend about local, when your company does not appear correctly in the right of the SERP, putting all the information is very, very important. So microdata, schema markup, exceptionally important when it comes to local. Andy, I take it you'd go ahead with that.
Yeah, it's just I noticed something yesterday that Google's trialing in America. If you search for, say, Liverpool Football Club, they bring up, you're going back to this Americanized thing, it's called roster, although we don't call them rosters over in this country. They'll change it to team or players, or just a bit annoying.
Yes, yeah, that's incredible. You'd think they'd be big enough to resolve that. Nothing against the Americans in the audience there, but it's important, obviously, when you're presenting your business, you present your business in a manner that the local audience that you're targeting will relate to and like. But let's move on to topic number 3, which is Pinterest are launching an iOS app, a functionality that will let users make phone calls and get directions to local businesses. It's also automatically putting in information, so local information as well there. So it relates to the previous topic a little bit there. Is Pinterest moving in the direction of Google Local, Google Maps? Is Pinterest likely to be a competitor to Google Maps moving forward? Grant, can you hear us now, see us now?
I can hear you and see you, actually.
Oh,
did really well.
Superb stuff. What's your opinion on this one?
Oh, Pinterest got a long way to go. I think they're doing the right thing. I think it will work particularly well if you've already got an audience, especially if you've got that local boutique store or that furniture store that is so visually based on the beautiful products that they sell in the first place. But jumping into the social space and moving it in with mobile phones and location-based things, will it be a competitor to Google Maps, etc.? Probably not, but there is definitely something about the Pinterest audience, the huge female demographic that use it at this moment in time, and the people that are using it well, as I say, fashion, furniture, food, etc. There is something there. I wouldn't make it my first port of call, but I could definitely understand why certain businesses, it'd be mad if they didn't jump on every opportunity that they have with interests, or Pinterest rather, if that's where their audience are mainly sitting at this moment in time. A long way to go though for majority of businesses, but it's certainly a good opportunity for some.
Tala, you've done a lot of work for local businesses by the sound of it. Can you see Pinterest being just as important as Google Local for local businesses in the future?
Like Grant said, it's only, unless you're a retailer, where you sell something that you can actually visually display, have photos of, images of, and it's very female, heavy, the user base of Pinterest. So potentially, I don't currently see it happening because 2 years ago they said Pinterest will soon start selling products and will become the next big e-commerce, platform. It hasn't really gone down that way, and I think it's one of the other sort of plans that they had was to launch something like this. And it's taken a while to get there. It could potentially turn into something, great. I've traditionally tried to use for, Pinterest for certain customers, but it hasn't really worked in the way that we thought it would. It's not something you can just stick a pin on and hopefully people will find you. A lot of people share and like things which are really, inspirational or, very visually attractive. And if you're in a, industry where you can create or you have products which are striking enough, then it might work. But in my experience, it hasn't really worked out as I thought it would. Maybe in a couple of years' time, maybe it might change. But for now, I just see it something evolving to be better, but just not there yet.
Absolutely.
And Andy, are you a pinner?
No, never used it. And I never even heard of this breaking story until I joined this conversation, so I've not even looked into it. But like the others said, if you're maybe a holiday company where you've got something nice and visual to look at, it might work for them, but it'd be small and few and far between companies. We'll never look into this here at eBuyer.
Okay. Also, Stephanie mentioned in the chat, do you have the Facebook and Google local beacons in the UK? I don't recall that as being that important. I think I actually I heard the announcement, but I don't recall much more about that. So Stephanie, if you could give us more information about that, then that would be interesting. Stephanie also saying for Pinterest, seems it's much a move to compete with Instagram and Facebook marketing. Yeah, well, we had some news about Instagram this week as well, actually launching some kind of combination page for the various brands that are using it. So trying to demonstrate the fact that there are lots of brands out there using it, and I guess enticing other brands to use their service. I think from what I know about Instagram, it's only the paid service that you can actually track, and you can have links associated with the images. So perhaps that puts some people off, but image marketing, video marketing, certainly very important moving forward. Coming up, we're going to be talking about SEOing live events, whether Twitter is the best social network to be on for digital marketers, and also how to make the best use of online video as a marketer. But in the meantime, it's great. We've got so much comments going on in the audience. Really great to have that. Keep on telling a little bird, share it with people. Hopefully we'll get even more interaction going on here. But let's just move on to the next topic, which is last week Google was seen testing a new red live label in its search results, highlighting a story that's being reported on or discussed at that moment. With Twitter, Periscope, and now Blab, we've seen the ability for anyone to actually break a new story or actually cover a current story that's going on. But are covering current news stories a significant SEO opportunity, a significant marketing opportunity for businesses? Andy, can you see SEO moving into a direction where you can actually effectively SEO a live event?
Depends if it's planned or not. So something like Felix jumping out from outer space, you could probably, because that's all planned, so you could potentially do that. But if something's breaking on in the actual news, say on BBC, they haven't got time to worry about writing its meta description. They're on about getting the news story out there and be the first. And they use push notifications, etc., to get people to the site. So if it's planned, maybe. If it's actual breaking news, probably not.
I mean, obviously you can't really do keyword research based upon a news event that's just happening, especially if it's a fairly unique event. But you can certainly format a heading intuitively a little bit better that's more likely to incorporate a phrase that is used to describe what's going on. Grant, is that something that you can imagine being involved with in the future?
We work with a lot of publishers. And there's no two ways about it that every major publisher already has a calendar ahead. There's lots and lots of things that we know that are going to happen every single week and every single month of the year. We know when the Rugby World Cup's on and when Christmas is going to happen, and et cetera, et cetera. So along those lines, publishers have got an opportunity to think about how this works in the future. I'm really interested in the whole idea of it, about the fact that live TV could be something that actually saves Google at the end of the day. If live Google News becomes something that you just go to and it's on the spot, then you don't really particularly need as many of as Andy was talking about there, about putting in tags and all the rest of it beforehand. This may actually be a really, really interesting concept where if it's the first place that you can get that information, and Google isn't the only person that's doing this, obviously we're going to be talking about a conversation about how Twitter are moving in this area as well, but instant video gratification in news is something that is particularly interesting, especially for advertisers as well, to be able to jump off the back of these things. And I think it puts live internet TV back on the agenda again. Obviously we've got live events on YouTube at this moment in time, but you have to somewhat subscribe to these things already. It's a very, very interesting space that all live TV publishers or video publishers, and that includes your BBC and everybody else, should be looking into this space, thinking could be a game changer.
It's funny, Grant. 20 minutes ago or so, you talked about Google having 94% coverage, and now you're using the phrase "something that will save Google" in the future.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously, traditionally, Google was very much a search provider, and a lot of people have came into the space and says, well, actually, Google isn't the only way forward. We can do things on Pinterest, we can do things on Twitter, we can do social listening on social media platforms, we can pick our fights and our battles in the right places as well. It is very, very different about where Google is now compared to it. It's trying to get into programmatic again. It's trying to get into all sorts of areas where they've lost market share. Yeah. It's not the de facto place where you start a digital marketing campaign anymore. So in reference to what I was talking about there, is this could actually be a bit of a changer. And yes,
yeah.
It could.
No, absolutely. I mean, just looking at the show, we were on Google Hangouts, and for the last few episodes I've moved to Blab, and at the beginning, before we got set up here, we had a few technical challenges, but it's working nicely now. It's integrated more with chat. There's more interaction with the audience. There's more sharing as well on Twitter as well, and it's a real shame that a tool like Google Hangouts didn't evolve over a couple of years, really, and Google could have done a lot more with live interactive TV so far, but they still have the opportunity there with YouTube and YouTube Live, and I do hope that they'll do something really interesting and different, and something that's focused on consumers and not just developing something like technically from their own perspective in the future. It's got to be something that really, really appeals to a target market, and there's lots going to happen over the next couple of years, and I'm sure Google will be a big part of it certainly as well. Tala, SEOing live news, is that something that is of part of your thought process at all?
Well, when I read this news story about the live sort of icon being shown on Google for news items, I recalled every time there's a breaking news, you go online or you go to Google and you type in whatever keyword that you want to read the news about. You always get the most popular news websites like BBC, Guardian, every one of them listed, and they're live updating the news story as it happens. So I think it's more aimed towards large publishing news outlets who have stories that they can develop. And I mean, I'm not sure for smaller, medium-sized companies, even larger companies, like Andy said, it would be difficult for you to know what will happen. And unless you have a really strong website, which is very news focused, it might not be easy to get up there or compete with the likes of, BBC, CNN, all those large news organizations. It's interesting because it's useful, if you see the live icon, you'll obviously click through to the news because you'll get more news stories, and as it's developing, you'll be able to get more information. From a marketing perspective, it seems kind of, difficult to be able to do much with it unless you can predict the future or, come up with a way to integrate your news items, blog items into something that might break out in the next coming week or the next month. It just seems too far-fetched to me at this point that this might play a role in some sort of marketing, content marketing strategy for anyone out there.
We've got everyone saying in the chat, could breaking news in Google search work in favor of the small hyper-local news websites, or will it actually favor a brand? I think that's a good point. And also in relation to what Tala was saying there, my thought process is that it certainly should encourage businesses to be very niche focused or niche focused over the pond, and you need to know precisely what you want to focus on in terms of story. Certainly if you're a smaller business, you're going to get lost in the message out there, and if you haven't got that domain authority or authority for producing news, you're quite right, it's not going to be worth your while doing that. Grant, do you think there are opportunities for very niche focused or very local focused websites, content producers to appear in Google News?
Google News has changed a little bit over the years. It used to be a very, very crass algorithm that it used in the first place. And as long as you understood sitemaps and how XML news sitemaps actually worked in the first place, because so many of the publishers didn't have a clue what was going on about how to maintain these kind of things. It was those who that understood how to win in Google News that obviously managed to dominate the one box space on the main results within Google in the first place. So if you understand that, there is an opportunity. I do completely get you that the big guys will be the people that will probably take the opportunity. As far as I said earlier about understanding what's going to happen in the news, we know when the next budget is going to come out. We know when the next budget statement is going to come out. There's lots and lots of things. We know when the next Queen's speech is going to come out. We know when the X Factor final is. There are constant, most publishers actually know what most of their backfill is going to be for the next several months ahead in the first place. And along the same lines as that, if you want to actually sort of take that planning forward, I think there is an opportunity for some of the major publishers to do it. David, I totally get your point. It's going to be difficult for niche players. It's going to be harder for them. But I don't know how this thing's going to work. Is it going to be a Google News feed that we're actually going to be using for this in the first place?
It was certainly a newspaper website that they gave as the example, or it was the screenshot within whatever website actually found. So it appears to be news services that it's taking this live information from, so existing so-called trusted sources that it's quoting or using. But I completely agree with your point, Grant. I think the vast majority of businesses out there don't have that annual content plan, and that content plan can be used in many different ways. It can be used to comment on a story that you know is going to come up anyway. It's something X Factor Finder or whatever you want to actually associate your business with or add a comment to. You can have that comment all prepped, or at least the angle thought about before the story comes up. So it's not. It shouldn't be a surprise when the story actually happens, and you shouldn't be reacting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in other words, in the automotive industry, say for instance, we know when the next Mazda car is coming out. We didn't know, what was going to happen with the Volkswagen story, but they could have reacted to that very, very quickly, and they could have preempted, oh, by the way, what's been found in America. We're going to be talking about this in Europe the next week, at least. But along the lines of car releases and things along those lines, they know when the next Rover's coming out, the next Mazda's coming out, and all kind of stuff. So there's a niche part, just the automotive industry, that could actually talk about these things quite easily. They know what's going to be happening beforehand. They've already planned it in their printed newspapers. They've already planned it in their digital platforms. Preempt the story, get to the press release when it's coming out in the next. They might be doing it Earl's Court when that next car is released in the first place. They know that's happening beforehand. These are all opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Integrated marketing springs to mind. Get PR working more closely with SEO, with social, because it's still, is it your experience, Grant, that it's still silos at the moment too much? And it
is a little bit. Well, absolutely. Yes, it is. Yeah. The opportunity is for publishers to join these assets together in the first place, realize that it's coming out digital, it's coming out in video. People want to see it on the internet, people want to see it on the TV later. Plan where their audience is, understand where your audiences want to hang out, and produce the content accordingly.
Are you confident, Grant, that in 2016, CEOs are actually going to start to understanding that SEO is part of the mix and integrate it into other marketing activities, or is it still going to be fairly lifestyle?
I think I was having this conversation in 2003, 2002, 2001, when I was saying you want to do PPC, SEO, and that sort of content thing together. Will CEOs, the winners, the clever ones, the clever ones have already worked this out ages ago. So your Skyscanners and people like that have been doing it for years, actually. So it's, the opportunities are out there. It's just willing to whether the boards will invest in these things, and hopefully the numbers will tell them that that's the smart and the wise thing to do.
Andy, do you use Google News at all in the activities that you do, or is that not really main focus of what you're doing?
No, we tried getting our blog into there, but it was actually rejected. Obviously, we don't cover many news stories, so no, it's not something we've particularly focused on in the past. Me personally, I use either BBC does push notifications to my phone for all breaking news, or Facebook. I still get a lot from Facebook.
Interesting. Yeah, I was talking to Lucas Zalesny from Uswitch, head of organic acquisition for Uswitch, in episode number 19, and we did a special on comparison sites. But we were talking about Google News, and he was saying that in terms of URL structure, if you want to submit your blog to Google News, you've actually got to have a number sequence within your URL, and a lot of bloggers obviously have it optimized allegedly for whatever keyword they're actually talking about. So it's just their domain name .whatever / keyword phrase, and if your URL is in that format, then it's not going to be accepted for Google News.
Okay, might be something to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's something that I didn't know beforehand at all. So it's an intriguing thing. Is that something you're aware of, Grant, at all?
Yeah, the algorithm is growing up, but it is so painfully simple, and it was for years and years. It was just, most people just didn't pay attention to it because people within large publishing organizations didn't have the assets or the skill set or the buy-in from board level to say, please look after this XML sitemap. Make sure that my articles are released when my audiences are looking for these articles in the first place, and having a strategy about when they won the space that landed in the Google One box and people actually clicked on it. It is a zero-sum game. You either win or you lose when it comes to Google News. It is getting more complex now. It's just an algorithm.
Lots to think about there, and lots to plan for as well. It's not something that you can reactively expect to appear in there. So if you're likely to want to do it, you've got to be thinking about it now and planning for it.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the next topic, which is it's been a sad week for Twitter as they've announced up to 336 layoffs. So does this mean that they're still struggling to find a decent revenue model, or are they struggling with actually attracting users as well? So as a digital marketer, like all of us probably taking part and interacting here, is Twitter the best social network to be on, or are there up-and-coming social networks that are even more effective, appropriate to be on as digital marketers? Andy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Personally, I use Twitter most days as a digital marketer. It's quite a cool tool.
So that's your primary social network?
For SEO-related content, yeah. If I want to look at pictures of my children that my wife's taken, that's obviously Facebook. But in terms of actually reaching journalists, yes, Twitter is really good because you can obviously target ads at these journalists to get links and mentions.
Okay, so you can't see yourself not using Twitter for weeks on end in the future?
No, it's most days, if not every day. And especially any conference, all you have to do is follow a conference on Twitter and you can see, you don't even have to be there, and you can see what everyone's talking about.
Got you. Okay. And Tala, you're fairly active on Twitter as well. Are there any other social networks that you're finding even more effective, or is Twitter the place to be for the kind of people that you want to interact with?
Twitter seems to be the place where everyone actually reads your content properly if they are interested in what you have to say. Twitter is the one that I use the most. Twitter is the one that I think works well. And I've even come across companies who use Twitter chats or, different Twitter campaigns to really get their name out there, engage with their clients. It works well. Twitter is good. Outside of Twitter, you can use Facebook, but we use Facebook advertisements, which is good. It kind of works. It's difficult to sort of start working with because Facebook's ad manager is a bit tricky. Twitter for live content, like Andy said, if you can actually reach out, create news. If you take the Google Live story, rather than us, pushing our content to get to the first page of Google for any specific keywords, you can actually interact on Twitter. A lot of people are engaging with each other on the latest news stories, and if you can create something good, if you've got good content to share, and if you have someone actively look after Twitter and social media strategy, I'm sure Twitter is the way to go, especially on social media for digital marketers.
Okay, and we've got that egg guy saying that how do you prevent fake Twitter followers in the chat? I haven't really concerned myself with that. What I certainly have done personally is I don't follow many people. I only follow a couple of hundred. Loads more than that follow me, and I like that model because I want to look at my stream and see people that actually am interested in hearing what they say, and I don't want people that just broadcast nonsense all the time, certainly. Is that the right Twitter strategy? I'm not sure. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I usually only follow people that I've either seen at a conference I've really enjoyed the presentation to get future updates from, or people that share interesting stuff. If someone keeps posting rubbish after rubbish after rubbish, unfollow.
Yeah, I'm an unfollower as well. Gran, you've got your Amber Green Says Twitter handle. Are you that concerned about what happens on Twitter yourself personally?
Personally, no, not in the slightest. Okay. I've hated it from day one. I really, really have. As I said to you many months ago, David, the whole idea of following people is something that goes way back to Bible days, and it's normally been a recipe for disaster. So I'm kind of left out of it. I know why businesses use it, and I think it's absolutely a fantastic opportunity for that kind of real-time thing. What they're doing now, as we were talking about earlier on, with this be able to use video as well, instant video, I find that really, really interesting. We mucked about with it earlier on today. I thought, well, how long does this actually take to take a video straight from somebody's phone, put it live, and it was done in seconds.
Is that Periscope you're talking about?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was Periscope that we did it with, and pushed it through. It was quite good. Obviously, it doesn't work in other ways, as in you can't tag it in the same ways that you would have used other videos. Twitter is an interesting space. Why they're laying people off is a different story, because at the end of the day, even though we've got these 800 million people that are signed up to it, it's what, 200,000 or 200 million or something that actually are actively working on Twitter at any given time, and within that, you're going to have a lot of fakes as well. So I think Twitter's got a lot of growing up to do still at the end of the day, in the same way that people used to have 10 billion backlinks and they turned out they're all garbage at the end of the day. So I think, let's face it, it's got a lot of growing up to do, and until we work out some of the Twitter etiquette, which is still wrecking people's lives as well. It really, really is. You know, this sort of horrible way that people actually use Twitter at times. I think it's got a lot of growing up to do, but I do understand why businesses use it. They can get massive benefits out of it. There is the following thing, and yes, my clients, we tell them about where we actively use social listening, so we tell people where to have the conversations in the first place. Like we use BuzzSumo to try and work out about, is the conversation actually on Facebook? Is it on Twitter? Is it on Pinterest? Is it on Tumblr? Is it on Google Plus in the first place? So we're absolutely agnostic when it comes to these things about where the conversation happens for our clients. We work out where the conversation is, and then just go accordingly. So we absolutely subscribe to Twitter as this is the way forward. But I love the video thing. It's very, very reactive. It's very, very quick. And I think they've done themselves something fantastic there. It was really a lot of fun, actually, just knocking it together. It was all done in seconds, and we're live. And sharing it. And then some random from Amsterdam said, hi. It works well.
It's quite incredible, Periscope, certainly. It gives you a good feel for the person behind the brand, that little bit more of a personal touch rather than actually being traditionally marketed to. This is what we do kind of situation there as well. Is Periscope something that you've used, Andy, at all?
No, the only time I've seen it was a drunken night out at Brighton SEO this year. That's the only time I've seen someone using it. So it's something I do want to look into, but no, I've never used it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I've used it a fair amount, maybe done about 6 or 7 broadcasts on it. And it's quite nice, but I don't feel it's quite the right one for me because I like being a bit more interactive and actually talking with people. I felt that with Periscope, I was broadcasting a little bit rather than actually interacting with people. But it's certainly an incredible marketing tool. And right for a lot of people, and probably depends on your personality. Tala, is that something that you've utilized? You've tried at all, Periscope?
Well, I haven't. I know of it, and I would like to use it. You know, with the amount of sort of video content that is being published out there, and if you've traditionally had long videos, you know, long testimonial videos, any sort of videos that you had, you could always turn them into smaller, bite-sized videos that can be put on different social networks. One of the things I noticed and wasn't mentioned was if you read the letter that was sent out to all the people who were laid off at Twitter, it mentioned that they will focus upon engineering further going forward. So I do think they've got a few different plans, and video is one big part of it. And more people are continuing to use videos as a way to reach out to their target market. So it's something I have used a bit. I'd like to use a bit more of, and hopefully, it gets better rather than like you said, just publishing content. You should start getting more engagement out of it once people get a hang of it properly.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an incredible medium. This personal broadcasting has only just happened this year, really, just at the beginning of the year with Meerkat and then Periscope, and now Blab as well, which is very new, and it's a bit more interactive as well. And it's just incredible to. It's impossible to imagine how it might be in a year's time. There might be brands that we haven't heard of today that we'll all be using, and perhaps haven't even been launched yet. So it's just a fast moving space. But staying with Twitter, actually, you can now upload a 30-second video to include a tweet. With your tweet, rather, actually, so directly from your desktop. So before you had to actually upload a video from your mobile phone, but now you can actually upload a 30-second MP4 directly from your desktop. So is Twitter reinventing itself and going to be a good place to actually publish video now? Or if you are a video marketer, are there better places to be focusing your time? Is YouTube the place to focus on, or perhaps even Vine or somewhere else like that? Andy, have you been involved in much video publication, video SEO at all, driving traffic from there?
We've only just hired actually somebody in the last couple of weeks to come in and do videos. So it's something we're actually looking at. We're creating a strategy for. Twitter will be something we'll look at when we come to do it, but we'll work out which videos for which channel. Some videos might just need to be a 6-second Vine. Others might need to be a 2 or 3 minute how-to video, which obviously is more suited to YouTube. Or if it's a quick 30-second something, yeah, Twitter could be the way forward.
So, I mean, in general, do you think it's best to produce one video for one place? Or are you more of a fan of actually trying to syndicate that video out to as many different places as possible?
No, because each channel, each network has a different audience and a different appetite for video. So Vine, 6 seconds, which is great if you've just got a quick, short message, social one. How-to video, you can't get that done in 6 seconds. So you can't use the same video that you use on Vine. It has to be completely redone on YouTube. So it's all dependent on the channel and the message that you're trying to get across.
Okay, I mean, even for Facebook, for instance, I mean, you could, in theory, upload a video that's fairly lengthy to there, maybe the same length as YouTube, but is that a different audience? And so it's worthwhile having a tonality that's actually focused on the audience and worthwhile producing another video for that?
No, if it was Facebook and YouTube, it'd probably be the same video.
Okay, got you. But because of length... Just
because of cost of doing a second video, because it would be roughly the same message anyway.
Okay.
Well, I do think that creating videos which serve multiple purposes. So you create a video that's quite a bit longer and you can upload it to YouTube. But you will note that you can actually take out certain segments of it. One can go on to Vine, one can, go into, Twitter now, and wherever else possible. So if you're creative enough, and that's what companies should aim for, if you're creating a video, make sure it's done in a way that allows you to be able to put it in different places. If you were to create 2, 3, 5, 10 videos, the money kind of, keeps going up and up. And you don't know how well they work until you've actually posted them. So it's one video that should do as many social networks as possible is a good way to start. And then, from there you can figure it out.
It's tough because, I certainly used to be of the mindset of try and distribute your content as many places as possible. But I'm now coming more round to the frame of mind where actually if you focus on the one social network, if you're talking about social marketing or social interaction, and then you produce quality content for that place and you interact on there, and you build your following there as well, that focus will actually drive quality interaction and make it more likely to go viral and actually probably assist you with actually becoming fairly high within the search results in that particular medium. I mean, one example I'd give is actually iTunes. I've produced a podcast in the past and syndicated it lots of different places and not had any particular focus in terms of where to encourage people to actually subscribe and interact. But when I have just focused on iTunes, I've found that the ranking increased quite significantly on iTunes because the amount of people obviously subscribing, so thus the ranking increased. So sometimes that one focus can be beneficial, but it's maybe a bit counterintuitive as well. You get any further thoughts on that at all, Andy?
Kind of, yeah. I'd still say doing one video for every single channel is kind of like old hat techniques and just chucking it up and hoping it sticks. But if you haven't got the budgets or the time or the resources, yes, that's one easy way to get it across every platform. But if you've got the time and the money, and you can still use the same editorial image and thing and just cut your video down, but try and create different videos for different audiences because that's what they're expecting.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I suppose once you get your process together, it shouldn't take you too long. We've got Grant that's left us at the moment with connectivity issues, and he's just struggling to get back in a little bit. Grant, maybe if you could try and actually refresh your screen again, and then try and coming in after that. Hopefully, you'll be able to come in okay there after that. I was just going to say, if you're producing a big long show like this, I mean, we're talking for about an hour or so. If you structure it well beforehand, then you can have a section within that talks about a particular topic, and then you can take a segment of that, and then maybe send that video out somewhere else as well. We've got Grant up here. That worked well, Grant. There we go. Just time to say goodbye. No, We're just about there. Grant, do you want to add a couple of thoughts about video marketing, about maybe where it's best, if anywhere, to actually publish videos? I mean, Twitter, we talked about Twitter just launching the functionality to be able to actually load 30-second videos as a part of your tweets directly from desktop. Is it worthwhile just focusing on that as a way of publishing video? Or if you do that, are you actually not taking advantage of the full video marketing opportunity?
You're probably not taking advantage of the whole video opportunity, but obviously being able to use Twitter, and you can't say it in 140 characters, but you can say it visually, sounds like a brilliant idea. It really does. What Andrew was saying earlier on was obviously makes total sense, that the how-to video has to be on a different format. It has to be Vimeo, or it has to be YouTube. And the strategy, if you don't want people to, if you don't want your audience to see your competitors' stuff, get off YouTube, right? There's specific places where you might want to use it and specific places where you don't. And one of them is going to be, if you don't want your audience to see your competitors and what they're saying about it, don't go on YouTube, go somewhere else. Send people via a different platform whatsoever. Maybe use that new Twitter thing you were talking about in the first place with a call to action that sends people actually to your website. If you've got an educational platform, again, you probably want people to log in the first place because you can get far more information out of them, such as your first-party cookie information about what they're actually doing on your website, while they're actually watching your videos as well. So, horses for courses with video. If you've got all the time and the money in the world, then yeah, put it absolutely everywhere. But not many of us actually have that at this moment in time. At this moment in time, it's trying to pick your battles. If you're short on time, short of resources, is find out where the conversations are happening, what's going to work for you. Analytics is a great thing, just actually measuring stuff, trying again, and eventually you might work out about where's the best place to put your time and money and your effort, and hopefully your returns as well.
Absolutely. Have a look to see where your best converting traffic is coming from, and then try and maximize that.
But one thing on YouTube, make sure you tick, if you're embedding the videos on your own site, untick the box to show adverts, because we've got the issue at the moment where our competitor adverts are being shown on our product pages.
Wow. Shooting yourself in both feet there.
Yeah.
Or maybe just one of them.
But yeah, so just untick the box to not show adverts.
Okay, yeah, great tip. Alexis saying in the chat, are your tweets losing reach? I mean, certainly with organic reach there, but maybe with Twitter advertising becoming more prominent, perhaps people may be slightly less likely to see organic tweets in the future. But I guess it really depends on the quality of the people that are following you and the quality of the relationships that you've got. So it probably depends on horses for courses, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And learn the best time to post your tweets when your people are most active. There's no point posting something at 10 p.m. at night if none of your users are active.
No, great tip, absolutely. Tala, are you just to finish off? Are you strategic about your tweeting?
I am. I've got someone that actually helps me out with tweeting. So we schedule tweets. We know when to tweet, which chats to target, which people to target. So it's pretty well thought out. Our tweeting strategy. That's the one we, like I said, we focus most upon. I think that's traditionally worked for us. People can actually see what you like to discuss, who you follow, what you're writing about content-wise. Facebook, you have to actually like some people's page to be able to see what they've posted. Twitter is open to the public, so Twitter is pretty much your public face. As a company, you'd probably want to do it well and be able to show a good side and what your company is all about. So our tweets are, of course, very strategically thought of, and we have certain, if you have a content strategy, you'll post about this specific content or write about this specific content for a certain time period, and all the tweets are focused upon them. Of course, it has to be natural as well. So I'm sort of getting to grips with Twitter. Like you said, I use it irregularly nowadays, but it works well. If you know your audience, if you've got a good bunch of people who you can integrate and engage with, then it's a great tool, I think. The best one for digital marketers, social media wise, right now, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I reckon that just about takes us to the end of this week's show. So just about time for a single takeaway from our participants and some sharing more of, find out more details, things like that. So should we start off with Andy there?
Hi, so I'm Andy Halliday. If you want to follow me, it's just at @Halliday. My biggest takeaway is don't buy links, especially on the SAPE network. Google will eventually catch up to you.
Great. Okay, and Grant.
So I'm Grant Whiteside from Ambergreen. You'll get me at ambergreen_says, or just get us on the website. You know, it's a thing called Google as well. The takeaway from today is stop buying links. And if you've got hack spam, do something about it, because Google's going to do something about it, and it's going to cost you a fortune. Just stop it. That industry is dead.
Great. No, great advice there, certainly. So stop trying to be proactive about driving new traffic to your site and actually think about the negative things that are actually happening in terms of hacked links and backlink profile.
Yeah.
And also joining us today was Tala.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Tala Fazlani. You can find me on tfazlani at Twitter. And the one takeaway that I'll tell everyone today is that get on Google Places, get on Google Maps, and get your clients to leave you reviews and engage with people on there. That's the way to go. And I think it'll work well if you do it well.
Great tip for local businesses. Thanks for that, Alan. And I'm David Bain, Head of Growth here at Analytics SEO, the agency and enterprise SEO platform with big insight. Sign up for a free demo of our platform at analyticsseo.com. And you can also find me interviewing digital marketing gurus over at digitalmarketingradio.com. Now, if you're watching the show as a recording, remember to watch the next show live. So head over to thisweekinorganic.com and be part of the next live show. But for those of you watching live now, you can catch up on past episodes too. So we also have an audio podcast. Go directly to that at thisweekinorganic.com/iTunes if you've got one of these Apple devices. But until we see you again, have a fantabulous weekend, and thank you all for joining us. Adios, and thanks, Grant. Thanks, Tala. Thanks, Andy. Great show. Good to have you on here.
See you later.
Have a good weekend.
And we're off. Yeah, hey, have a good one, eh? See ya.